Hello and welcome to the episode. Nope, fuck.
All right, go back. Go ahead. We're good. We can cut this part out.
Okay. Oh, should I say Holy Trollers? Hold on. I probably should say hello. Welcome to Holy Trollers.
There you go. That's a good idea. Yep.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Yep.
Hello and welcome to Holy Trollers. I'm Kelly.
And I'm David, and welcome to our premiere episode.
We hope you enjoy yourselves. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Kelly and David, they're on the mic, talking about things you gotta like. Holy Trollers is the name. Kelly and David bringing the flame. Laughs and wisdom all in store. Podcasts that you can't ignore. Kelly and David, they're on the mic, talking about things you gotta like.
Hello. That's
Hey.
good.
How are you? Once we figured the tech stuff out, I think we're okay. But maybe,
We'll get there
maybe
eventually.
eventually, yes. Yeah. Happy New Year, by the way. 2025.
Happy New
Here we
Year.
are.
2025.
And apparently the bigotry has not stopped, and it will not stop in 2025, as we've
It
seen.
will not.
It
It's
just
going to
keeps
be
going.
a wait and see kind of year. We'll see how everything rolls out.
I think so. Yeah. And, and maybe that's, probably good fodder for further episodes.
Oh,
Maybe we-
I'm sure it is.
Yes. And, it was funny because I know I shared something with you earlier this week that just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And it's funny because, we're all adults here. We can say what we want on our social media, but it's always interesting for somebody that I'm connected with on Facebook, but
Yeah.
not necessarily a friend, whatever you want to call that, a Facebook acquaintance. And you can kind of see their true colors come through. And, it's funny because I think I had sent you a screenshot of it and I was trying to come up with something clever to say. And then you just said, don't waste your time.
It's just not worth your breath. Yeah.
Right. Yeah,
I think I spent, the beginning of probably COVID, I wanted to fight everybody. And
Right.
then I just realized, it's just not going to do anything but rile me up and maybe
Right.
rile them up. Who gives a shit about them? But I don't need that stress.
Right.
You're not going to
Kelly-
change people's opinions.
Kelly Riley was kung fu fighting. She was
I
she
was-
was on it.
To a point where I was like, delete,
Yes, yeah.
and
Right.
for the most part, I have to say the real people that really ticked me off, they're gone.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
I still have plenty of people that have very differing opinions than me,
Sure.
and
Yeah.
I don't know. I find if I shut up and say why, why do you think that way, it
Right.
actually helps some. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yeah.
Because I think you find that you actually, I do think it's true. You have a lot more in common with people than you realize.
Right.
That these glaring, big, huge issues, of course, that's going to be decisive and, people
Yeah.
aren't going to want to agree. But I mean,
Right.
really, if everybody agreed with me, how freaking boring would the world be?
Right. That's very
You
true.
know?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And it is funny though, because it does have a little bit of an edge to it now, right? It's so tribal.
Oh,
There's
God.
no there's no gray area. There's no sort of a meeting of the minds or letting someone express certainly what their opinion is or what they think without, some kind of fucking nuclear fallout.
Right.
I mean, it becomes scorched earth at some point, and then
Right.
back to your point, there is no point.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, it just becomes a waste of time.
It does, and it just pisses you off. So let it go.
Right.
I have found, I have people where I work, and I have differing kind of religions, and I'm not religious at all. But I learn a lot of really interesting things. You know what I mean? I kind of take the good stuff that that they teach me or tell me, and I'm like, I can get that. I can understand that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
So, yeah.
Yep.
And politics, all of that's the same,
It is. Yeah. I mean, you know, now that we've got our first convicted felon as in his second term, it should be interesting. It's funny because I tried to take a break from the news cycle, and
Me too.
It's easy to get sucked back into that fucking rabbit hole.
Well, it is a rabbit hole. I used to do this thing when on my way to work. I would listen to Fox News radio.
Oh, okay.
And I listened to Sean Hannity just to hear the different kind of opinions and stuff like that. Now, I have to say, I found a huge progression to him where I had to stop listening to him.
Right.
It just got too toxic and too opinionated, and we were too far apart in our opinions that I could listen. But for about a year I did, and he would have guests on that would, kind of go against what he was saying. But then he got to a point where he's just like, turn him off. He didn't want to hear any other opinions. And I think I got that way as well. I just, my opinion was the opinion.
Was
the
end all.
Yeah. But then that's how you put yourself in those boxes where you don't see or hear anything else beyond you.
Right.
And I don't think that's a good way to be.
No, I agree. Yeah. So it'll be an interesting year for that. I'm sure he will occupy much of that news space.
Yeah, I don't think I still will be watching
2025.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because when you don't watch it regularly, and I was, regularly nonstop, all of my social media had to do with, all that kind of stuff. And at this point, like, I watch The Daily Show. You know what I mean? Because
I love The Daily Show. It's so great. It's so smart. I mean, the writers on there are amazing, and it's so damn funny. It's funny because I really, I listened to the Ears version or the podcast version on Spotify, and I love Desi Lydic. And she's so fantastic. Yeah, and so is Jordan Klepper. Is it Klepper? Yeah. Is that how you say it? Yeah, yeah. I mean, they're really something like that.
So smart.
It is. It's smart. It's funny.
So smart. Did you see the thing that she did where she was all of them were at the funeral, and it was like a diagram. Oh, it's so good. So it's Trump with a diagram to Hillary, and it said he wanted to put her in jail, and then it went to Clinton. He tried to have him killed. Then it went to Bush. You know what I mean? It was just like funny. There's nobody he didn't have a grievance with. Oh no, it was actually Pence that had that. He tried to have him. He tried to have him murdered. Yeah. But
even the little things they do where, where she kind of sets it up and she's like, Trump coming for the White House 2025, and then you hear that little audio bit where he's like, "I'm gonna come," and then they cut back. It's just that little bumper intro is so funny and clever and all that good stuff.
Well, I think the thing that has really disappointed me, like I fully accepted when they called the race. For one thing, I didn't say, "Oh, that's rigged. Oh, that's a lie." You know what I mean? Like so. Yeah. Immediately I was like, all right, well, more than half the country wants this guy. And so I'm like, all right, let's see what he does with it.
Right. Yeah.
He's not even there yet. It's such a shit show.
Oh, I know.
I mean,
I think, honestly, depending on your leaning, right? I mean, you either are going to support him and think he's, the best thing ever for this country, or that once it's all said and done and he hopefully is off into the sunset, it'll just be one big fucking giant asterisk that will never go away. I mean, the convicted felon is asterisk enough.
Yeah.
But you add all the shit that's going to be piled on top of that in the next 4 years, and it's just one for the books, right? One for the history books.
One for the history books. I just hope that we survive it, and at the end of it, it doesn't say,
I know.
All these people are in jail, or
honestly, I hope my hairline survives. I mean, I feel like it's already receding more and more based on the amount of stress. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Well, we're gonna see. I mean, you
Yeah.
know,
I know.
I do feel like I don't know who the comedian is that's on the Daily Show. He's a younger African American guy, and he kind of does
Um,
his jokes like slow, like a
um,
slow burn. But
that's a good question. I'm not sure.
yeah, but
I'd have to look that up.
yeah, but he was saying, he was kind of saying, shit, David, I totally lost it.
Oh, no, it's all good. I know. That happens to me too. Here, I'm gonna share my screen over here, and we'll see
Okay.
if we can. I went and did Googled,
The guy, yeah, he's very
well,
funny.
I just Googled comedians, and I wasn't sure if
Oh.
he's anywhere on this list here.
Gosh, he's
Is
on
it-
the
it's not
Daily
Roy
Show.
Wood,
though.
is it?
No,
Wood
no,
Jr.?
no, no. Gosh, I
Not this
missed him
guy
on the
here.
Daily Show.
John Oliver.
He's so good. I'm gonna have to put on my glasses to be able to see these people.
Oh, I know.
Uh, there he is, Josh Johnson.
Oh, Josh Johnson. Yeah, right,
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Oh, that's funny. That's great.
Yeah, he's a funny guy. But God, I can't. I mean, can we bleep this out?
Oh yeah. We can edit.
Because I can't think of what the shit it was.
Oh,
All right.
right. That's fine.
Yeah, that
we'll
whole
yeah.
thing.
Yeah,
Take
we
out
can-
all out.
Well, I mean, that's kind of the beauty of this whole thing, right? This I don't know if it's going to be long form or not, but certainly more maybe than 30 minutes. But it doesn't have to be clean. It can be
Kind of messy. Well,
Yeah, why not?
you're at the right place, folks.
it can be messy like my hairline. Look at that.
You're
Holy
really obsessed with that hairline.
it's
Maybe
kind
you
of
need to put your
weird.
camera down a little
I
bit.
I do. Oh, but, I mean, I don't
Then
even
you're
want
gonna
to
start
do
complaining about your neck. Or,
Oh my God,
or
I already
something
am.
else.
It's funny that you say that because I joke with Lynn all the time. I said, "Hey, what do you think about if I don't even know what that microsurgery is called, where
Where
they
they
can go
take
in and
the
and she's just
Yeah.
like, no. So
yeah.
I don't
I
know,
said to
maybe-
Stacy this morning, I said, like, a tummy tuck would be great. And he was like, well, we could probably do that. I was like, you know what? No. As long as I got clothes on, I'm fine.
right,
And he loves me anyway, so it's all good.
right. So right at that point, nothing else matters, right?
No, I mean, listen, if you look back in like the 80s, like the Golden Girls were younger than we are.
And they
Like I
look
think all of them.
like they were in their 70s, right?
Easily.
Yeah, right.
So
And I mean,
we're already doing better.
I think we are, right? I mean, we don't look much older than 49.
49. Well, then that means I look 48 because I'm a year younger.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
No,
Yes.
I if I had known, like, when I was in my 30s or something, I was thinking 55.
Right.
Jesus.
I
I mean,
know.
like,
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
going to be falling apart, And if
Right.
I had known that life is so much better for me anyway,
Oh,
because
in your 50s.
I do. I mean,
Yep.
the 50s have been awesome.
I kind of agree with you. I mean, some people peak remarkably early.
Yeah, right.
And I mean, that's a whole nother episode perhaps, but I mean, certainly there's the wisdom part of it, right? So, I mean,
The
obviously,
lessons learned.
yeah,
God.
and
Yeah.
but that's what they say. What do they say that youth is it youth is
Wasted on the young.
Young,
Wasted
that's
on
right.
the young.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what it is.
So when
Yeah.
you're young and you look much better,
Right.
but which is debatable. I mean, I think I've aged like a
I
fine,
think you've aged like fine wine.
like a fine Limburger cheese. Perhaps not wine, but no, I just it's a trade-off, right? So
I don't know. I think it's yes. You look back at pictures and you're like, why wasn't I happy then?
right,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
absolutely.
there's nobody I know that does not look back and say, what the hell is wrong with me?
right,
That I didn't,
yeah,
see myself for what I was. But
right.
it's because you're constantly comparing yourself against other people.
right. That's true. Yeah.
And I don't compare myself against anybody anymore. Like,
Right. Yeah.
For one thing, I don't care about anybody else's opinion, except for
Right.
the people I love. You know
Yeah,
what I
right.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
if you don't like me, as a matter of fact, when I meet new people and I
Right.
think I might be gaining a girlfriend, I literally have a talk with them. Look, I know I'm a lot.
Right.
If you don't like a lot, I'm not your girl because I'm a lot.
Right.
I'm loud. I'm
Right.
crass.
Right.
I'm going to
Right.
say inappropriate things. I'm going to laugh too hard, too loud, whatever.
Right.
And I am opinionated as shit.
Right.
So if
That's
you don't
okay.
like it, that's okay.
Yep.
It's all right. I mean, I have lifelong best friends. I'm good. But if
Right.
you'd like to like go out and have a drink or go to a restaurant or go see a movie, really,
Right.
that's all I have energy for anymore anyway.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Like,
I know.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like,
I do. Yeah.
yeah, I don't need drama-filled people
Right.
that are coming into my life now. So I don't give a shit what
Right.
anybody thinks. The people
Yeah,
that
yeah.
already know me have
Yeah.
decided that I
Yeah.
could still stick around.
Right.
You know?
Right. Yeah. Well, that probably comes with wisdom too, right? You can
Yeah.
shrink the people who orbit you, or you can shrink your orbit or minimize your orbit or whatever
Yeah.
they call that. So I get that. Yep.
Yeah.
No, that's a good point.
Well, I
But,
think that people that like to give, and they don't give to themselves.
Right.
And that's what I do now. Like, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, I know sometimes when I get home from work, I'm getting in my flannel onesie and
Right.
I'm watching Bravo. And, like, I just, that's what I'm going to do for myself.
Absolutely.
You know what
Yep.
I mean? So,
Yeah.
yeah.
There's something, no, it's funny because there's some, and we can talk more about this on another episode, but since I've sort of had a career change or a bit of a shift in the work that I do,
Right.
it is nice to come home and just, relax and
Relax.
not care about what you're wearing or
Right.
who's watching you or what other people think of you. And in that sort of, in your safe space.
Well, you've been fortunate to be with the same person forever.
That's true.
How long
Yeah.
have you guys been together?
A long time, since high school. In
85,
one fact.
84,
Yeah, 85. Yeah.
85.
Yeah. So what,
So-
40 years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if she hasn't like said you're disgusting and I never
Oh.
want to be around you, she would have told you a long time ago.
Oh, right.
So,
Yeah,
you know what I
I'm
mean?
surprised she has. Well, she may have said that, but I'm surprised that she hasn't acted on it, right?
But, and I'm in a relatively newer, a little over 5 years,
Right.
but how different I am in this relationship. Before I'd be like, let me make you dinner. Do you need something to drink?
Right.
Let me
Yeah.
rub your feet. And I still do all those things, but
Sure,
now
yeah.
it's more like, if I make dinner, he cleans it up. It's more of but I don't like, I did come to him and say, this is who I am. Like,
Right.
here's my book, here's my
Right.
story. If
Yeah,
you
yeah,
like
yeah.
it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. I don't care.
Yeah. No, that's, I think Stacey, he's a great guy. I mean,
Yes, I got
he's
lucky.
really, you
Yeah.
both were a match made in heaven. I think you
We
found
were.
each other for the right reasons. Yeah.
It's funny.
And,
My dad, he called me once and he was like, you might want to be a little bit more quiet.
He was
Like,
trying to coach you.
yeah, he was trying to coach me. He was worried because Stacy was so nice and quiet. He was
Right.
like, you talk a lot. And I'm like, and if you don't
Mm.
like it, you can go. Like, I don't
Right.
give a shit. I am
Yeah,
who I
yeah.
am. And Stacy's like, thank God, because I don't like to talk and you do it all for me.
Right. Yeah. That's
You know
great.
what I mean? So it
Yeah.
was a nice yin and yang.
Yeah, absolutely. That's
But I think
fantastic.
that the part I was making is just that as you're older, you're more like, okay, like if you don't like it, all right. You know what
Right.
I mean?
Yeah.
like,
No, I
I'm
mean,
not changing. So
exactly. Exactly.
yes, I am.
Yeah. And nor should you, right? And when you don't
Right.
have to, that's the beauty of it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I just those young relationships, the bending over backwards to make sure, that
Yeah.
they're happy or they're happy with me and I'm trying to change yourself or become somebody that you're not. Eventually you're going to revert back to who you actually are anyway,
right. Yep. Yep.
So, yeah.
Very, very true.
Yeah.
As it
Are
should
you-
be, right?
Are you surprised just like what you thought the future would be? Like who you would be? Is that what you were kind of thinking?
Oh, you mean what I thought as a young person
Yeah.
versus where I'm at now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what did you think? What were your?
I don't know. It's funny because, people, I think that's one of those questions that people assume everyone has an answer for, right?
Right.
Like,
It's true.
or it's that typical, like, where do you see yourself in 5 years, or where do you see yourself
Yeah.
in 10 years? I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, at 50, almost 57, who knows? I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
I'll still be able to walk under my own power. Hopefully, at 67, I would think. I would hope. But I don't know. I mean, I think there was a time when I was much, much younger that I think I thought I wanted to be an actor.
Yeah.
In
I could see that.
Yeah, in some way. I don't think it was necessarily. I thought it would be cool to make a living doing that.
Hmm.
But I don't know that I had enough self-confidence at that age to really think that I could have done that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know that I felt right at home doing that. You know what I mean? I felt like
Yeah.
it was something that I really enjoyed. I think it was something I was good at, at the time. And certainly, I think if I would have sort of made the decision to try to maybe study,
Hmm.
acting and go to school for that, I don't know. I'm sure maybe that helps with more of the, sort of classical training, and that kind of thing in terms of, what an actor is. But I don't really think about it too much anymore. I think sometimes it's well. I think there's sort of been this kind of odd shift in what is considered entertainment, and not that I think I'm an entertainer or we're entertainers. We could be. I mean,
Right.
maybe it's about finding an audience, right?
Right.
Or being confident enough, or not brave enough, because brave is probably the wrong word, but stepping outside your comfort zone
Yeah.
to try something like this. I don't know. So maybe that's, I don't know. Maybe that's something that, will sort of help me rediscover that part of what I thought I might be when I was younger. I don't know, but
Yeah.
we'll see. Yeah.
I mean, I didn't think I'd be an actor, but I thought I would
Right.
be some. I've always considered myself the fool in settings, like,
Sure. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I don't mean that in a negative way. Just kind
Right.
of like I don't know, a person that kind of likes to see people laugh and have
Yeah. Yeah.
fun, and so like a pump up person, maybe,
Yeah.
or
Yeah. A
something
hype.
like
You're a
that.
hype person. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a hype man.
Yeah, that's how I feel. It's funny. My dad, I was asking him about, when he was younger and what he
Right.
kind of saw himself as, and he was like,
Yeah.
I was entertaining. I was amusing, and people
Yeah.
found me either really amusing or really not.
That reminds
And
me. That
yeah,
reminds me of that Goodfellas scene. I amuse you. Do I?
yeah,
Oh, I
exactly.
amuse you. Yeah. Yeah. That whole thing.
But
Right.
it's
Right.
so funny how I think I'm so similar to that sort of thing. You know what I
Sure.
mean? Like
Yeah.
I wasn't. I always was in on the joke about myself.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I said to him, I said, when you die, what do you hope people say about you?
Oh, you said that to your dad.
Yeah, I said that to my
Oh,
dad,
shit. Okay.
and
Right.
he was like, that I made people laugh, and I was like,
Right.
that's exactly what I would say as well.
That's
You know,
nice.
that
Yeah.
just made people laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool. You know?
Yeah. I think I could see that. I could see people saying that about you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Because
Yeah. Yeah.
hopefully you're gonna have to make a whole video for when I die. So just prepare. I already have the songs picked
I
out
think.
and the pictures.
I,
David makes
thi-
amazing videos for me.
I-
Like amazing.
I think statistically speaking, I'll probably check out before you, right? I mean,
Well, I mean,
yeah,
listen.
I mean,
If the world goes around the way it normally does, that's probably true.
Yeah. yeah. I mean, I'm wondering if those LA fires are the start of it all. Good Lord, it's like a
Can you
hell
believe
state.
that?
Oh my God.
I mean,
I don't.
yeah,
I mean,
it's unreal.
it'll be interesting to see, and I don't know if they'll ever know how those were truly started, whether it was arson or just.
I saw something
nature.
about arson or something
No.
like that, but
Good Lord.
yeah, you know, I was talking to somebody on the phone the other day, and she was like, "You notice how nobody's talking about Western North Carolina anymore?" And there was just such devastation there. I mean, just
from the flooding.
from the flooding, and
Right.
it's still like there's still homeless people.
So they're still trying
like,
to dig out of that. Yeah.
unbelievably so. It'll be years and years and years before that happens. But
Mm.
we're so accustomed to jumping to the next thing.
Right. That we forget about. We forget about those because that type of thing. Like, I don't know if they classified it as like 100-year storm or 100-year event. Was it something like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's never happened before. I think
okay. So it's,
you know, and it's literally one of my husbands and I. You know, Stacy's our favorite place. We take the motorcycle there all the time, and
oh, right.
And our favorite place was pretty much wiped off the map. And somehow they're rebuilding, but it's not an overnight. You know, it's not an overnight thing.
Right.
You know, we just get so accustomed to moving on to the next disaster. I think that's actually part of the negative of technology is not that it's negative that we know about these awful things, but that we are so desensitized.
Sure. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because we're constantly bombarded with it, right?
Nonstop.
So it becomes just the everyday norm, right? This is nothing. It's hard to sort of become attached to a story and to, you know, to have real feelings about it, because it's like, wait a minute, what? Like I saw 10 days or 8 days of that or 5 days of that, nothing but, and now what? They're on to the like you said, they're on to the next thing, whatever the next
thing.
Big thing is. But
yeah, I mean that's the landscape that we live in, that there's going to keep on being worse things that happen.
Right.
You know, and that's a condition of how, in my opinion, how we're taking care of this place we all call home.
Oh my God. I know.
Is a result of that.
Right.
You know, but
but I know there's so many people out there be like, nah, the global warming's not a thing. The earth is flat and Trump is the best president ever. Right.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, that's when you get into that. I can't even have a conversation with this person because they're just a friggin' moron, you know?
Right. But, But we would certainly welcome a person with that viewpoint on this particular show, right? I mean, just to talk to them. Seriously. I mean, I think one of the things, I think we talked about this a little bit, is that you know everyone does have a story to tell.
Yeah.
So and it doesn't. I mean, obviously we feel like we have a story to share, and so we're going to do that. But it would be nice to just hear people's stories, regardless of what that story is. So, you know what? Which reminds me, I probably should put up the email address. I forgot about that. So somehow we have to figure out a way to book guests on this show. Now, what's interesting, there are some services out there that will provide guests for you, but I think you pay a subscription fee. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know if we want to do that necessarily.
How can we get that gig? I want to be a guest.
Yeah, I mean, right. I guess maybe we find an audience, and then you become famous, and then I'll be your hype man.
Oh, okay, cool.
So,
David, you've been my hype man for 40 years.
Yes, that's true. I have. Yes. So
well, we didn't much say anything about that. So, you and I have known each other since I think I was 15. You were 16 because you were driving. Yeah,
we met through a mutual friend. Another Kelly.
Another Kelly. Another redheaded Kelly.
Another ginger. Yes. I think I only have a couple gingers in my life, and
really,
I mean, two of them are Kelly. So but
I had to re-gingerify myself this morning, though.
Did you? How did you do that? Is that a color?
It comes out of a bottle.
Oh, does it?
But you remember, I looked like this before in the 80s. Okay,
you did. That's right, you did. Except your hair was bigger, right? It was
much bigger.
It was 80s. It was that.
Oh man, I love a can of Aquanet.
Right.
Yep. Teased up to the sky. Yep. It's one thing I liked about Texas when I went there. They still believe in big hair.
My God. Well, there's the saying, or isn't there a song that Texas is bigger than it used to be?
Oh,
I mean, everything's bigger down there. The guns are bigger, the hair's bigger, the fucking hats are bigger, the boots are bigger.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the country line dancing. I don't even know if that's a thing anymore. But
I would,
country
I
music
have
is
not
bigger.
been invited to one of those yet, but I definitely want to be.
Yes, there you go.
I want to go to Gillies. I keep on asking about Gillies, but evidently
yeah.
it's closed.
Is it? Oh, I was going to say, is that still a thing?
No,
I
it's
wasn't
closed.
sure.
We're really aging ourselves there.
Well, that's true.
Urban Cowboy.
Urban
but,
Cowboy. That's right. Yep, that's right. Was that Deborah Winger and John Travolta?
Yeah.
Oh my God, holy shit.
Yeah. I know. They were young pups, man.
Yeah, they were. They definitely were. We were too at one time.
Yeah, I was once upon a time.
Hey,
yeah.
Sorry. No, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, one of the things I was thinking about as I was mulling over in my head things to speak about was, I know you've got kind of this girls trip coming up.
Oh goodness, yes.
Next week.
Next week.
I've done a guys trip obviously before.
Yeah.
And I'm just curious, what is a girls trip all? I mean, I obviously I know what it's about, right? It's about reconnecting, it's about friendships, it's all of that. But
right.
I mean, share as much as you want or as little as you want. But do you guys have a set plan? Do you have an itinerary, or is it not that nailed down? Is it not that exacting? Is it more just, okay, we're going to get together, we're going to talk some shit, we're going to drink, we're gonna look at some young men and make comments about them?
We don't do that. Guys think that women do that all the time, at least in the groups that I'm in.
Right.
It's funny, like a young buck comes through and you're like, oh, they're just so young. You know what I mean? Yeah, they're just so young.
Well, that's the saying, right? Young, dumb, and
full of it. Yeah.
Full of whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, but at least the women I hang out with, we just, it's not, we're like, Sam Elliott's hot. You know what I mean? That'll be more like the opposite way. When I think also when you have kids, you compare everybody to okay, is he my son's age? You know what I mean? It's just kind of, listen, women don't like to be thought of as pedos. So for the most part, Well,
there's a, I mean, you could say cougar though, right? I mean, that's kind of a
you
thing,
could, but like my son, when I was dating, he said they have to be 10 years older than me because, that was his thing. That at least is a appropriate man age kind of
that
thing.
That was Sean's only condition, right?
That was about it. And that they're Democrat.
Right.
Which were the same things as my father. But what we're gonna do, like you said, we're gonna probably wear our pajamas all weekend.
Okay.
We're gonna drink a ridiculous amount.
Right.
My jaw will hurt by the time I get home because I've been flapping my gums.
Right.
So these are girls that I've been friends with since elementary school and junior high school.
Right.
So we've been friends and we get together every so often. Love to be able to convince Lynn, your wife, to go, but she never will. Because she knows better.
Well, she went on one, right? Didn't she?
She didn't go for the weekend, but she came over for the night.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. And I think she had fun, but I think she was really ready to be done with us.
Oh no! I mean, I remember seeing some of the fallout
pictures
from that, or people falling into bushes and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. It should be. And it always is. I mean, at this point, we're almost getting ready for Walker. So, we got to be careful. We could break a hip and take ourselves out.
That's a good point. At this age, right? We don't want to do that. We don't want to end up in the hospital.
What I think is funny is when I was younger, it seemed like time went by in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And as I'm older now, it's finally time is taking its time. And I don't mean that in a negative way.
Right.
Because when I remember when I was 30, I would think of 60 and be like, oh, I only have 10 years left after that. Well, shit, at this point, if I die at 70,
right. You've got 15 good years or what?
Yeah, that's it. No, I don't think so.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's amazing now where I can look back and I'll be like, all of these things are jammed in this time period, and it's not a long time period. It hadn't
Right.
even been 2 months since I came back from San Antonio seeing my kid, and it
Right.
seems like a year ago. So I like
Sure,
it. I
yeah.
like that time is taking its time.
That's a great city.
San Antonio,
Yeah.
it's fun. Yeah, the Riverwalk's amazing,
Yeah, it
and
really
the
is.
food. Huh,
Yep. Oh, yeah.
the food. My son-in-law took us to an authentic Mexican restaurant, and
Sorry, I'm just gonna,
nothing was in English, and
right. Sorry, I didn't mean to do
there
that.
you go.
I was trying to.
But we were glaringly white, and but he's not. He's Hispanic, and
Oh, right.
and so I don't know what the hell I ate, but it was so freaking delicious. It's not.
Was it?
And
Was it like a taco kind of?
it was
thing, or was
tacos,
it-
but
Yeah,
and
yeah.
they were like, "We're gonna order 30," and I was like, "30 tacos? Like what?" But they come in a
Right.
small little taco, and
Right.
evidently I ate beef tongue. Had no idea.
Oh, wow.
But I mean, yeah, the food there is amazing.
Splendid.
Yeah, but it's Texas.
Right.
It's
Yes.
Texas.
Yeah. Yep. No, they definitely have good food down there.
They have good food, but it's Texas. Like I told my daughter, I was like, I am ready for you to get out of Texas.
Yeah. Right. Oh, sure. Yeah.
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 I mean, just
Yeah.
as a matter of fact, I thought going to, my girls' trip, we're going to Florida, and I'm like,
Oh, yeah. Well.
I mean, I'd rather go to like Antarctica in January. Like, it's Florida.
Yeah, you'd rather go wrestle polar bears.
I mean,
than,
like,
yeah.
seriously. But I will go with these girls, and I'll be very,
Yeah.
very happy that I'm with them. But yeah,
Oh,
there's some places I just
Yeah.
rather not go.
Sure. I'm sure you'll all have a great time.
Oh, it'll be
I'm gonna-
good. I'm taking
you-
off the day after to recover.
Oh, good. Yeah. Just make sure you post pictures so I
Oh,
can
you
live
know me.
vicariously through you ladies.
It'll be a hoot. Yeah.
Yeah.
I consider it my job to take embarrassing pictures and
Oh,
then
yeah,
to
yeah.
broadcast them. So
Yeah.
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 a lot of times they say, put down the damn phone, Kelly.
Oh, right. Yep. Well, I would imagine during your pillow fight, they'll probably want you to.
Yeah, we have them all the time after we douse ourselves in baby oil.
Yeah. Exactly.
Then we
my
get into
God.
a wrestling pool. It's great.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
I'll tell you something funny that guys don't realize. Guys have the reputation to be the biggest shit talkers about sex and all that kind of stuff. There is nothing that
We can't hold a
talk
candle.
about.
Yeah, right.
There is not one thing. I went to this with work a couple
Right.
years ago, sex toy party, and there is nothing like hearing your boss say that they
Yeah.
like to take it both ways at the same time, and it's so like just wide open. And this, by the way, is not my current boss.
Oh, right. Oh.
She'd hear this and be like, no, I don't. No, she doesn't. It's not
Funny.
her. But there's all these like lotions and potions and all this kind of stuff. And my cousin and I were there, and we'd roll it on our arms, smell it, maybe lick it. Well, we ran out of places to put things. So we were like on each other, like,
Oh my God.
put it on each other. And, oh yeah, that's good. That blowjob cream's fantastic.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
But yeah,
Mm.
girls, there's nothing that we do not discuss.
I
Nothing.
bet. I believe it.
And
I
nothing
believe it.
about you that we won't discuss as well.
What?
Oh, everything. Yeah.
Oh my
No.
God. Oh, geez.
Lynn, your wife, is very quiet and very proper. She does not.
Right. Yes.
Yeah,
That's-
you
that's
married well on that one.
Well, you should.
Yeah.
Well, that would be funny to have an episode with all of you and your lady friends on.
Oh, well, maybe I'll do a little
Yeah.
thing that
Yeah,
we can
and then
add.
I could just be off screen, just listening and taking notes.
It's a good thing we could cuss on this because it would be boop, 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 boop,
Oh my
boop,
God.
boop, boop.
That's right. Yes, we'd have to have a, yeah.
Heat. Boop, 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 boop.
Yeah, in that case, we'd have to have like a 20-second delay.
Right.
It would be,
There's not
Um,
enough muting in the world to like,
right. This is true. God,
But yeah, that would be funny.
I cannot get enough water this post-COVID. I swear to you.
Oh, that's right. You had COVID over
That last,
Christmas.
that last bout with it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, symptoms were mild, but there were a couple really rough days in there. And then, now that it has sort of passed, there's just sort of weird things that kind of linger around. And one of them seems to be like, this
Hydration.
overwhelming thirst. Yeah. It's,
Is that your first time having it?
second that I know
Second.
of. Yeah. Second time that I know of and tested positive for it. But I didn't, I did that initial round. And then I did that very first,
Booster.
booster. Yeah. But I
Uh-huh.
haven't, and that was I guess that would have been in 2022,
Yeah.
maybe.
Well, I got a
November
booster
22?
in October.
Oh,
But
this past October. Yeah.
yeah, but I've gotten all the boosters and I've had COVID 3 times.
Oh,
So,
right. Yeah. Right.
you know what I mean? I've had it
Yeah.
3 times.
I mean, obviously we know it's just supposed to lessen the severity of it, but
Right.
it wasn't that bad. It's just sort of the weird shit that kind of lingers around a little bit afterwards. And you're like, I didn't really notice that last time, or
Right.
that's not something that feels like a typical, there's something about it. Like it definitely, anyway, I think it's other than like the cold or the flu, there's just a little, it has a little something to it that it's hard to put into words, but you definitely feel it.
Did you lose your taste?
I did not.
I've never lost my taste.
No.
All 3
And you-
times I've had it.
The first time I had it, and I told my doctor about it, she said, and only, I think she wanted to prescribe me the Paxlovid. It was relatively new then. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I, and only because I guess in her opinion, I had a few risk factors, like at the time, the high blood pressure,
Right.
the higher or elevated cholesterol. And so I took it, and that whole taste where it gives you that metallic taste in
Oh,
your
it's
mouth,
awful.
like a
Yeah.
mouthful of nickels or pennies or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I tell you what, though, it did the job. Like it knocked it out
Oh.
within that 5-day cycle. But then as soon as I stopped it, I had the COVID rebound because it went away. I was feeling better. I tested negative. And then I swear to you, like 3 or 4 days later, I started to have symptoms again. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, is this coming back? And then I started to test positive again. And then it was like, and then it was like another week before it was gone again.
Did you go back on Paxil?
Oh no, the Paxlovid.
Yeah.
No, I just took the one 5-day course,
Yeah.
and then I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna ask for it this time because, quite frankly, I don't think it helped me.
Well, I took it and it made me so sick. So I will not ever take it again.
Yeah.
It just did not. But I tell you that the big one now is that RSV. I've never been as sick as I have been. My grandson.
Oh, you had it?
Gave it to me. Yeah, he gave it to me and all of us. We went on a family vacation.
Was that in San Antonio or
no? That was the year before they came.
Okay.
They flew to North Carolina and then they spent 2 days in the hospital with him having RSV. But
shit!
RSV, I couldn't move. I've never been as sick as I was with that ever.
Did you have chest congestion or a cough?
I had everything, but more than anything, I literally had no energy. I mean, to turn my head felt like I ran a marathon.
Oh shit! That's awful.
It was all I could do is put on one of those nature shows that Morgan Freeman. He talked, and I would just put that on. I sat on a couch with a airplane pillow around my neck.
I got comfortable.
That's
just
all
settled
I did.
in.
I didn't do anything.
Did you sleep? Were you sleeping with your eyes open?
I mean, like literally, I've never been so sick. So, but you got to be 60 for that vaccine. But I tell you what, as soon as I turn 60, I'm getting that sucker. Yeah.
Is that
for sure?
Is there a test for that? Do they test for RSV?
Yeah, there is a test for it. Yeah. Yeah.
And so once you have it, is there anything that lessens the symptoms of it?
Nothing.
Or nothing. You just have to suffer through it. Your
Suffer,
body just has to.
high temperature. I mean, you could take, stuff to bring down your
wow.
temperature and stuff like that. But Yeah, it's not even, at least for me, it wasn't even like it was just I was depleted,
That's awful.
like
Wow.
completely depleted. And my grandson was beyond miserable, and he had like 105 temperature, and
That must have been scary for a
it
young
was
kid
very
like
scary.
that to get it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Did
yeah.
did they put him on IV or anything in
Oh,
the
he was on
hospital?
a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah, at the
Oh, okay.
hospital.
Oh,
Yeah,
geez. Wow.
yeah. But it's very serious and it's very contagious. But that kind of brings me to a little bit of a point. I work in the customer service. I have a lot of customers come in,
Right.
and they'll be walking out the door and being like, yeah, I have COVID." And I'm just like,
So they
or
tell
I
you.
have RSV or whatever. In fact,
Yeah.
the first time I got COVID was from my boss. Second time was from a customer.
Oh my
I
God.
mean, and probably the third time too. But
Yeah.
people are just like,
Yeah. Yeah.
screw you.
I know.
Yeah. And and honestly, I don't know what masks. I have no idea, because I'm confused with all of the
Right.
different opinions on that.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
more
Yep.
than anything, it's just, don't put your ass in front of somebody that you could potentially
Right.
get sick.
Yeah.
That's the first step.
Well, yeah, right. Yeah,
Ugh.
exactly. Right. If you know that you have it, right. And obviously they did, because they said I have it. They tested
Mhm.
positive for it. I mean, have respect for the, people you're going to come in contact with. If you're contagious
Yeah.
within those first 5 days or whatever, just fucking stay at home, or
Just stay
wear a
at home.
mask, or don't, shake somebody's hand or breathe on
Right.
them.
Right.
And then on the way out, go, oh, I'll see you later. By the way, God, this fucking COVID is awesome.
Yeah.
It's awful.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have it. Yeah. So yeah, I know.
Yeah. So I have it. Fuck you. Probably you have it too. You know what I mean? It's just, it's just crazy.
Yeah.
But I think that's unfortunately the state of where we are.
Right.
You know what I mean? And,
Yeah.
not necessarily. My dad and I talk all the time about how things were different, when he was growing up, and even when I was growing up, just a
Yeah.
care, you know what I mean? It didn't have to be,
Right.
your whole town got swept away from a flood, or you had a fire, or
Right.
there's just basic consideration
Yeah.
and respect
Yep.
and care for other people.
Right.
And now there's not.
No, that doesn't exist.
No, it doesn't seem like it does.
Yeah. It's every asshole for themselves. Right.
Yeah.
It's out to,
Yeah.
um,
It's wild. And
Yeah.
we can see that, like, just with how, the world is now. you know.
It's a little bit like I imagine maybe what the Wild West was. I've been watching that show on Netflix, American Primeval.
My dad just told me about that. He
Yeah,
says it's really good.
Yeah, it's funny, because I was explaining it to Lynn, and I think it's a limited series, so six 1-hour episodes.
Okay.
But it's I wouldn't describe it as gratuitous violence. It's
Okay.
violent,
Mhm.
but I think it was trying to depict how it really was. I
Right.
mean, it was a violent time, right? I mean,
Yeah.
there weren't a whole lot of rules, I think, back then. People just made up their own shit, and it was crazy too, because historically I didn't realize what was happening. Right, like you had the U.S. government, using, the army to go in and try to, rid the land of Native Americans.
Rid them.
And then
eradicate them.
Yes,
Yeah.
right, exterminate them basically. Yeah, and then you had what's his name, Brigham Young of Church of the Latter-day Saints saying, no, this particular set of land is ours, and we
Right.
don't want Indians on it, but we don't want the government trying to take it from us. So let's partner with the Indians in some cases where we can, and use them to help us kill whoever we don't want on our land. I mean, it was just you had all these, and they had, and then even the Latter-day Saints had their own sort of militia. I forget what they called it.
Really? The
But it was-
Latter-day Saints did.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. It was a bunch of people trying to just kill each other over land. It was definitely the Wild West. I mean, it was extreme. So
Right.
I didn't know. I don't know how much of that is true to history.
Oh,
And-
I'm sure it's
and-
very. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's it's executive produced and directed by Peter Berg,
Oh, okay.
who I really like as an actor.
Yeah.
I've always liked
Yeah.
him as an actor, but I mean, he seems to be a pretty good storyteller as well. So, and the talent in that is good. And I didn't honestly, it doesn't have like what I would necessarily consider like superstars or like,
Right.
A-list stars, right? It's just a bunch of really fine actors.
Hmm.
Um,
My dad said the same thing, and
Yeah.
and my dad will tell you who was married, how long they were divorced. Like he
Right.
knows entertainment. At least he used to. Now we don't know who the shit anybody is. But
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
but back then
Yeah.
when it was a limited amount of people, he knew everything.
Yes.
He's like,
Yes.
I can't come up with one person's name, but it's a really good show.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I would definitely recommend it.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't you miss those days where it was just like, it's just so expansive now. It
Yeah.
used to be
It's
just,
it's insane, right? It's a little crazy because, well,
God.
first of all, I hate that every fucking channel is a subscription.
oh God,
It's like,
everything.
can I just pay one price like
Right.
I used to with cable and get,
Yep.
and obviously like with Prime, you've got the add-ons for Paramount Plus but
Right.
it's like, come on,
Yeah.
I
It is unreal.
and the problem is, if you do like a trial subscription for like $4.99 for Paramount
Right.
Plus, and then you get locked into a show, then the next thing you know, you're
Yep.
keeping it, right?
I
Because you're like,
know.
well, I want to keep watching that. So
Right.
it's interesting.
No, it's
but-
true.
but it's
Or
true.
you'll get like a recommendation, like I love the show From that's on
Right.
MGM.
Yeah.
And people are like, I don't have who has MGM?
Right.
And I'm like, well, it's only $5.
Kelly's like, I do.
Yeah, I do.
Right.
I know. And everybody's like, can I have your login? No,
Yeah, right. Yeah.
cannot. Well, my children probably do, but
Right.
we all share. So we all have this, of course, Netflix is screwing it all up, but
Well, they keep
now
raising
I have to
they
pay
keep raising the
$20.
price. I know.
It's insane.
I know.
But yeah, no, it's crazy. It's just too much. But I don't know who anybody is anymore either. Like, I watch an award show, and unless you're, 40
Yeah.
and above, I
Yeah.
don't know who the shit you are.
Right. It's very true. But I would think, for professional actors, it must be a great time, right?
Yeah,
Because
but then
there's-
the AI thing's going to come in, and I
Right.
wonder what's going to happen then.
yeah, well,
you
that's
know.
that's true. It'll be interesting to see what happens with that. And
Well, I
so-
mean, if you go and you say, "Hey, give me an AI picture of somebody,"
right,
or a clip, we probably could create a clip here with Brad Pitt introducing our show.
right,
And
right.
I mean, just because the technology is there.
Yeah. Well, it's funny
So-
because it's kind of I think it's and I haven't really done my research on it, but I think it's kind of going the way of that name, image, and likeness, like they have in like college professionals or college sports rather.
Right.
I just wonder if actors are going to start licensing, for money their name, image, and likeness, right,
Right.
to be used however, because that certainly would be sort of a passive revenue stream for them that they would just always get paid for.
Right. If they do, that's the whole thing.
if
like
they
when
choose to do it, right,
right.
right.
Well,
yeah.
when
probably some
the
people are like,
actor
no, I don't want
strike-
that. Yeah,
Well, the actor
Right.
strike, that was a big part of it, is that they wanted to make sure
Yep.
that the studios could not do that.
Right, right,
But I mean, during COVID and stuff like that, nothing was getting made, and suddenly I was watching Korean, TV shows
Right.
and stuff like that.
Yep.
So I guess eventually you will run out of entertainment, but
yeah,
God, it's just too much.
right. I know
It's
it
too
is.
mu-
Yeah.
Like we're watching, we just started that Noah Wiley show, The Pit. So I was like,
Oh, is
hey,
that good?
it's very good. Yeah,
Oh,
I like
okay.
it a lot. But
Okay.
we were like, well, maybe we should watch ER again. So we've started watching
Yeah.
ER again. But what
Yep.
we discovered is ER is one of those shows that you watched it one time, you didn't watch it again,
Right.
right?
Yep.
So it's almost like a brand new show to us.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
we don't remember all that stuff because it
right.
was made during that time period where,
And
and it
that was-
wasn't on syndication, and you know what I mean,
Right.
where it was just like Seinfeld. I could give you every line of Seinfeld ever
Right.
friggin' said.
Yeah.
I've watched them all 1,000 times.
And it's funny because like when Seinfeld was the thing back in the
Yeah.
day, I never watched it.
Oh,
Like,
really?
it wasn't something that I was interested in. Like I
But I
just
wonder
I couldn't
if it's
get locked
because
in
of
on
your
it.
age.
Maybe that's what it
because-
was, but now I think it's hilarious. I love
know-
it's a great show to watch. I mean,
Yeah.
I'll watch the same episode multiple times because it's if,
Right.
if I think it's funny, and so
Yeah.
You know,
I think the older you get, like sometimes shows or entertainment or whatever it is,
Yeah.
I just don't get it at that age. So I
Right.
just am like, that sucks. I'm never looking at that again. And
Right.
and sometimes my husband will be like, no, it's great. Let's
Yeah.
watch it again.
let's try.
And
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
holy shit, it's really
Yeah.
good. I really like it.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I would have never done that had I been like guilted into watching it.
right. Yeah. Well, Friends is another one that I never watched when it was
Yeah.
on, but now
Oh, really?
reruns are great.
You
know?
just didn't watch Must See TV on Thursday nights on
I
NBC.
did not. I mean, it's funny because I go back to, and you probably remember this
What's that?
because you were kind of tuned into sort of the
Entertainment,
zeitgeist of what was happening at the time. But there was a show. I think I was in college at the time, so it was probably 89 or 90.
Okay.
It was called Cop Rock.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember that show?
Yeah, I do.
I actually
See,
loved
I
that
just
show.
said it. I'm like, oh, that's terrible. But
I really enjoyed that show, and I was
Really?
like, yeah. And people were like, "What? Why would you watch that? What a stupid premise!" Yeah, you know, it's like a bunch of cops, but it's a musical, and you know,
Right,
I don't
right.
know. I thought it was good.
listen, I'm somebody that watched The Walking Dead until The Walking Dead ended, and still watching the spinoffs.
Do you know?
And every time
yeah.
I watch it, I'm like, God damn it, why am I watching this?
Oh, I know. Well, I think I watched it for maybe the first 3 seasons,
Right.
and I was really into it, but then it just started. I don't know. I couldn't.
It's
just-
like how many different kind of zombies can kill you?
Right.
How many people, bad people, are ruling a town that's going to
Right.
kill people?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So-
stuck. I was there.
Yeah. That's
I
that's
hung
great.
out.
You know. Yeah. I mean, you know, you
I'm loyal, and I
Yes,
love
yes.
zombies.
yeah, you were true to that, and I thought I was going to be true to Cop Rock, but they took the fucking thing off the air. They canceled it. Fuck.
Do you
Come
get
on.
a thing where you hear a bad story about somebody, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, I can't. Like it just,
Oh, like a show?
yeah, like
Um,
you know, in real life they do something, and you're just like,
Yes, right. I'm trying to think if I don't know that I've ever, nothing that I can think of top
Yeah.
of mind that I've done and said, oh, I'm not watching that show anymore because that person.
Because of that,
Yeah.
yeah.
How about you? Is there something?
Oh yeah, no, there's some,
Yeah,
yeah. Where I'm just like, ugh. But like I remember my son, he says I'm the most horrible person in the world. But when Michael Jackson died,
Right.
I was just like, good, because you know, it's child molester, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And I'm
right,
like,
right.
I'm never listening to him anyway, you know. But
You
now
mean
that
a-
I'm older,
Don't you
I
mean
can kind of-
alleged?
yeah, I mean, I can separate, you
Yeah.
know, I could separate the
Yes.
art. Now I can,
Right.
because
Right.
I was just like,
Yeah.
he's a piece of shit. No, you know what I mean? But
Yes.
like, I was watching The Usual Suspects the other day. Kevin Spacey is an asshole, but
He is. Yeah. Right. Right.
I
Yeah,
mean,
and
but he's
then
a
you-
great asshole in that movie.
Yeah. Yeah. No, he was amazing in that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 So I try to separate that stuff so I don't, you know. My husband always says, you know, when somebody's being really awful or to me, like I have a lot of customers that might be unpleasant,
Right.
and he's always like, I always try to look at like, what are they going through? What's their story? And I'm like,
Right. I know.
oh God, is
I
it
know.
like, it's so exhausting to be a better person.
Right.
Oh my God.
Right. No, that's
But
that's a
I'm
good
trying
point.
to do that.
Yeah.
I'm
right.
trying to.
And sometimes that's hard to do, right? Especially if you know what you know, right?
Yeah.
So
Well, I think it's a matter of, I remember I always wanted to be super defensive. If somebody said something about me, I'd be like, oh, that's just their opinion.
right.
Like,
That's right.
What the
That's
shit
one-
does that matter to me?
Right. It's one person's opinion, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
mean,
it doesn't
who cares?
right. And I mean, and really what's the impact of having them in your life? Is there one?
Right.
If there's not, it doesn't right. So yeah.
So,
and even
yeah.
So you kind of have to measure that, right? And as
You
they
know.
say, there's a season that people are in your life, and sometimes there's a deeper reason that people are in your life. And
Yeah.
so, you know, sometimes those seasons are fleeting, right? And
Yeah.
you know, but it's that is an interesting thing too, because sometimes a person is in our life when we're much younger. And so maybe 20 years go by, maybe longer, 30 years, and we sort of still judge that person based on
Oh, yeah.
when we knew them, right? Because that's
Right.
all we had to go by. So,
Right. Right.
It's kind of hard to sit back and go, oh, well, maybe that person has changed over the years, or maybe they were going through some kind of shitstorm I wasn't aware of back then, and that's what. But so I
Yeah.
mean, more to Stacy's point, I get that. It's actually
Yeah.
it's very insightful. I mean,
It is.
Yeah, it's-
He's a much better person than I am.
well,
So,
I don't know about.
no,
I mean, he's just different. That's all.
Well, he's different,
Yeah.
and obviously being raised different, experience different. You know what
Right.
I mean? Like, I think that I've just felt for so long that it's like fight or flight kind of thing.
Right.
For a lot of my life. So
Yeah.
I'm just kind of okay. What's
Yeah, yeah.
next? You know what I mean?
Right. Yes.
Where he's
Yep.
just like, what's next?
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's just a different, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and
Yeah.
that's actually to his point. He,
Yep.
you don't know why I might respond, harshly or whatever off of something because you
Right.
don't know what I've been through.
Right. Yeah.
You
Because you're a
know.
special kind of crazy. I mean,
Right. Exactly. And you're stuck with me for another 40
Yes,
years.
no, and I mean that. I mean that in the best possible way. I mean, we all are, right? I think I have my own brand of crazy that
Yep.
lives
Yep.
somewhere inside my head.
No, I think that is interesting where people come into your life and they could flow out and
Yeah,
and that's okay.
it is. Right.
That's all
Yep.
right.
Yep.
And I think those people but I think also out of obligation or some weird things we do hold people still in our lives that really should have exited, the stage. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Right,
And,
yeah.
and, and we,
Exit stage left.
we
yeah.
kind of, and we kind of allow for whatever reason, them to
Right.
stick around and suck your soul out,
Yeah.
but,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
think getting older, you stop allowing that more, which
Right.
is nice. You know what I mean?
Because you're smarter. You're smarter in many ways, right?
well, your tolerance is down too. Like
that's
the
true.
bullshit's just
Yeah.
like
Right.
your bullshit ability. Like I have mine from 9 to 5.
Right.
I have to have it then.
Right.
That's when I work. That's when I
Yeah.
have to have it.
Yep.
But I don't need to accept it in my personal life.
No, definitely not. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yep. Yeah, you
if
can
you're in
definitely-
my life, there's a reason.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
you add value.
Yeah, right. You can definitely set boundaries, and
Yeah.
yeah, sometimes they're steel trap doors, sometimes they're bear traps, sometimes they're I don't know, a house made of hay that can easily be blown over. But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, no, it's interesting how we're able to do that and figure out what makes our life better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah, it's from where we were, I still see like so much of exactly who we were
Yeah,
then. Like
I
when
think
we
so.
met each other, I still,
Yep.
you know what I mean? Like
Yep.
just so much of that. But then also, I can see a progressive maturity and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But I mean, the thing I think I love about you is that you can take me from 55 to 15 in like 1.1 seconds. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
you could take.
Yeah.
I always describe you and Lynn like you're my
Right.
devil, she's my angel. And
Oh, right,
between the two,
yeah.
But yeah, no, I love that. Old friendships you could still almost see each other exactly how you were at 15
Yeah.
years old or whatever.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
No,
And-
I agree with that. I think that's kind of a rarity, right? That doesn't
Oh, yeah.
exist
Yeah.
too often. So yeah, no, I'm
Yeah.
grateful for that too. Yeah.
Yeah. My dad was talking about his best friend, and he always talks about like when they would go somewhere and they would be kind of just bouncing off of each other.
Right.
They just had this rapport with
Yeah.
each other that they could.
Yep.
And he's like, "Have you ever had that?" I was like, "I have that with a few people, and you're definitely one of those people
Oh,
where
yeah.
it just like a rapport back and forth. Like I can send you the grossest, most inappropriate meme on a text on Christmas Eve, and you're not going to be like, "Oh my God, she's so disgusting." And I'm sure that I probably did.
Right. Well, it's funny because it was like that clip I sent you of Billy Bob, and I don't even know what movie that is from, but it just struck me as a funny way, and it was funny because I thought, oh, that's something we should play on this, but I don't think legally we can do that,
Oh,
right? Because you know what I mean. I don't know. I
I
have
don't
no
know
idea.
the rules.
I don't.
I have
either.
no idea.
Are there rules? Are there? Are
I
there rules
I
with this
think
shit?
they're I don't know.
Yeah.
So
Well, it's
don't
funny.
sue us.
It's funny because when we were kind of coming up with ideas for like this whole podcast opening and music and all of that, it was like,
Right.
well, I mean, what a great spot we're in with all this AI shit, right?
Oh shit, yeah.
Yeah. And then so it's like, but even then you're like, what does AI use to put that together? Like,
Right.
but
right.
I don't think it's, I think there's some kind of user agreement with that particular service. Like
Right.
they own whatever you create in there. So
Oh,
I
okay.
but I don't
See, but I've just like I know that the Matrix is real, and we're just
oh yeah,
going to be
seriously.
sucked of our energy and
Right.
used for machines in the
Oh
future.
yeah.
Like
oh yeah.
we're not. I don't know how long it's going to take for us to eventually
Right.
phase ourselves out, and
Right.
I think that is what it's going to be.
Oh yeah. That's coming.
Because we are making things much smarter than us, and I
Right.
don't think in this universe we're alone either. But
Oh no, we're definitely not.
I mean, we can't be the smartest bulbs.
Oh,
Like,
no,
there's
no,
just
no,
no
no, no.
way.
No,
You know what I mean?
Honestly, I think that we were put here by some
Something, right?
something
Exactly.
much more advanced than we are now.
Right.
So
I
I know it
I
sounds,
agree.
and I know that sounds ridiculous and crazy. Like, I mean, I'm not a flat earther, right? I know
Right.
I know the
Right.
earth is round, but there's something else at play here. It's not necessarily the story. Well, it's not necessarily the stories I was told growing up Catholic, right?
Right.
It's much different, on a higher level that we just don't understand.
Yeah.
At this point.
I agree. I just, yeah, I don't find the need to find a reason why we're here or a
Right.
reason why we're going to leave. I
Right.
don't worry about that shit. It's not
Right.
within my lifetime
Right.
that I'm going to worry about what's going to happen in the future.
Right.
Now, that's to say I am somebody that believes in taking care of our planet and our
Oh, sure.
environment. So
Yes,
I'm not
right.
going to I'm not littering
Right.
or something like that.
Yeah.
While I'm here, I want it to be a nice place, and I'd like it to be a
Yes.
nice place for
Yeah.
future generations. But
Right.
I know that there's an expiration date, and so I don't know.
Yeah.
AI, like they're worried about China hearing us.
Right.
They're already probably. And do you know how many things I have that say made in China? There's
Everything.
probably microchips and every fucking thing.
Everything. Right.
Like we're worried about our phone having AI. Like
Oh yeah. Like these cameras
it's
we're
already
using.
here.
Yeah.
Yes.
These cameras we're using. These microphones we're using.
Right.
This software
Exactly.
was probably coded somewhere. Who knows? I
Yeah.
mean,
And who knows
I-
what kind of chips in there or anything else?
yeah.
You're worried about TikTok?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
It's an immediate this
Yeah.
moment kind
Yeah.
of like we can do something about TikTok. I think that's why they're after TikTok, because they
Right.
can do
Yeah.
something.
Right.
There ain't shit
Yeah.
that we can do
Yeah.
in reality.
Yeah. Half of this country's not worried about the convict that's about to take office for the second time. We're worried about fucking TikTok.
Right. Exactly.
And what secrets they're stealing from us.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't know.
I don't
priorities,
know
right?
either.
It's prioritizing distractions is what I like to call it.
Well, listen, politicians love that. They love to throw a big splashy thing that everybody can be all hoopla pissed off about,
Right.
and, and they're actually not concerned about it at all. They're just trying to get on TV and act like they're impassioned and they care about the people. They don't give a fuck about us.
Yeah. So they can expand their social media following and collect money off that. And then they're worried about their retirement and, being paid in perpetuity, I suppose, is what a lot of those positions hold for them. But, good for them. I mean, good for them for getting that piece of the pie. But, don't come at me with a bunch of bullshit.
Right.
And expect me to support it or believe it. Or not to sit back and go, that person might be an asshole.
Right. That stinks.
Maybe. Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
That stinks.
Yeah.
So,
it's fine.
Exactly.
But we have our own brand of pollution that we can spread through this podcast. So,
well, I hope that people will listen to it and maybe enjoy it and come back for another one if we ever get our shit together.
Here's my thing. My what based on the amount of different podcasts that I listen to,
Yeah.
I feel like there is an audience, for every person that has something to say, right?
Yeah.
There's definitely a following. So, whether we achieve that or not, who knows? But I don't think for us that's really our end goal.
No, listen, we've
for
been
us-
doing this for how many years now?
right. So
Like this is
So,
our
yeah,
premiere
so-
episode, but
yeah, and I mean, even if someone listened to us and go, "What the fuck are those
Right.
two morons talking about?" Like what? And that's the beauty of it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if that's the best that these conversations provoke in somebody, I'm okay with that. I mean,
what the fuck?
yeah,
I've provoked that emotion before out of people.
maybe in some way that means we've done a good job. I don't know. I mean, and I don't think. I mean, we're not going to sit there and go, "Oh, I wonder," yeah, because we talked about that already. We're not
Yeah.
doing it because we care what other people think.
Right.
I mean, if we find an audience, great. But,
Yeah.
But honestly,
It'll
really,
be fun.
I think I mean, what interests me greatly for this is I want to get other people on here who want to tell a story.
Yeah. I
You know
think
what I
that'd be wonderful.
And I mean,
yeah.
and honestly, sometimes I think about, how we'll do that, if we'll do that, and if we do it, how do we vet these people to make sure that what they're telling us isn't bullshit? And maybe that's part of the beauty of it. Maybe maybe their story is they're a bullshitter and they just want to, they just
Tell a
want to
story.
trick somebody. Yeah, they want to
Right,
they
right.
want to get one, which is beautiful in its own right.
Right.
You know what I mean? I mean, that would be to me, that would be amazing, right? To never figure out that it was bullshit, or to look back and go, oh, that person was full of shit. I don't know. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I think that could be a good thing.
I think that would be fun too. I think it would be a good time.
Yeah. Definitely.
And at least you and I would be amused. So,
Right. And I mean,
ultimately, really, at this point,
Yeah.
is that we're our only audience, except for
that's right.
maybe you could talk
We are.
Linda watching it. It took me 4 days to get my husband to watch our
Yeah.
first
Well,
attempt.
it's funny because when you obviously we did an episode in December, and then we were just kind of testing things out and see where it
Right.
landed. But when you said to me, "Did you watch it yet? Did you?" And it's so funny because it's hard for me to watch it because it's hard for me to watch myself. Do you know what I
Right.
mean? And
You
I'm
are
like,
very critical on yourself.
yeah. I mean, I think there's that part of it, but part of it too is I don't want to spend that much time thinking about the critical aspect of myself. Do you know what I mean? I just want to go, just put it out there. And if someone doesn't like it, if someone goes, that guy's a fucking moron, and he
Right.
doesn't know what he's talking about, and he's got a horrible hairline, and look at all the gray hair he has, and Jesus, would he shave? I mean, it doesn't matter. That's cool. Like that
You know
wouldn't
what?
bother me. If
I-
other people are critical of me, I don't care. I can be critical
Right.
of myself. That's what's hard for me to watch is
That's
it's
so
sort of
funny. I think my
self-criticism.
husband, my husband's the same way because, he's a
Yeah.
musician and he played in a band and
Right.
he'd have a fun night and, and do a great job. And then he'd go back to do the videos so
Yes.
they could put it out. And
Yep.
oh my God, he just beat the shit out of himself. And I'm
Right.
like,
Yep.
how did you not just see the same thing? So
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think
Yeah.
it's a fun feeling
Yeah.
to just do it.
Yeah.
And so like, fuck it. When I said earlier, fix that, fuck it.
Exactly.
Just
right.
fucking do it.
Yeah. And I,
You
and,
know?
and for me, I think it would be funny. However, and who knows, we got to figure out like the different social media channels that we're going to build on and all of that. But
Right.
I think it would be interesting to just see what kind of responses that you elicit. Right.
Okay.
For
Listen,
me,
you
anyway.
know me.
Yeah.
You didn't fuck up like I did, but but I don't give a fuck. So
Right.
yeah,
Right.
I'm down
Well,
with it.
yeah. But I think that's the beauty of it too, is going, oh my God, that's funny.
Yeah.
Like that. You know what I mean? Like you could look at someone's critical response and go, oh my God, that's kind of funny. Like that, that wouldn't upset me. That would probably just make me laugh or be grateful. Like if it was a positive thing. And
Right.
someone said, yeah, but anyway,
Yeah. Well,
we shall see.
I just want to hang out with my buddy.
Yeah. Right on.
And
Yeah.
and talk about whatever the fuck. We've never had a problem coming up with shit to talk about.
It's
ever,
exactly it. No, it's exactly
which is
it.
why we're doing it together.
Exactly right. Right. But it was funny. Just to go back to a point where you were asking me earlier about, like, is there ever a show I decided to stop watching because an actor in it, and I wasn't able to come up with anything, but I know you and I both kind of are into YMH, which is really a funny show to watch, a funny podcast. but they recently had that actor Armie Hammer on. Did you see that?
Yeah.
And I just didn't realize how fucked up that guy was.
Yeah.
And so I didn't really know, like, I didn't follow him, so I didn't know the stuff he was in, the movies.
He's a good actor. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, certainly a hell of a talent, but holy shit, man, he's got a bunch of fucking gorilla or monkeys on his back, whatever you call it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, he's got some struggle going on inside of him.
Right.
I had no idea, but I thought, you know what? It was interesting that he was talking about it, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, basically, he was canceled, right?
Right.
I don't even know if he'll ever recover from that. I don't know if he'll ever work again, but that's an interesting story to me.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. I think so too. It's like, where you came from. I think often we can look at something from an outside and form a quick opinion.
Right.
And obviously other people, what they think or say about something is very persuasive, if you allow it to be.
Right.
And you don't, it's a good rule to just kind of come at it as unjudgmental as possible. Mm-hmm. So you can hear the story. Armie, I know all the negative stuff. Before that, he was, a golden guy. I can't imagine that it's night and day as to who he is or was. Right. Yep. And I think he just has some really freaky sexual stuff, and
some kinks for sure.
Yeah, he has some kinks, but Jesus said, who doesn't have some kinks? You know what I mean? Like, who doesn't? Like, we're talking about him wanting to nibble on somebody, but
right.
There's priests raping children, you know what I mean? So there's some real fucked up shit that people think or imagine or whatever, but but there's more than just that one single thing. Right. That's my point.
Yes. No, that's a good point. Yep.
Yeah.
I agree.
So it'd be cool to find some stories and have some conversations, and
I agree.
And do that. That would be be interesting. I don't know if it'd be fun, depending on what the story is, but it'd be interesting and informative. And
I would like to, because years ago when we started playing around with the idea of doing this podcast, and I had scheduled someone that worked for this organization called Food Empowerment Project.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, I'd like to try to figure out, I don't know if that particular person is still sort of the director or the lead on that, but maybe someone who's involved with that, just because I think what interested me was that whole idea around food deserts.
I didn't know anything about that. That was like just what you taught me. I was like, it's something I never thought about or anything. It was very cool.
in America here. So, that's a little odd and horrible and unfair and just so many things about it. So I think it'd be interesting. But again, we'll figure out how to get some stories on here, and
that would be very cool.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll just keep coming up with ideas. Good, bad,
and if anybody would like to be added or has
totally
something to say,
I mean,
we'd love that.
Yeah, absolutely. Certainly send us an email at holytrollers@gmail.com. Visit the Facebook page, like it multiple times if you can.
There is a page. Come visit it.
Yes.
We should have our links for episodes on there as well. And
Yep. So I think right now, I think we need to figure out the Instagram piece of it with kind of clips, probably Facebook as well. I guess we'll post episodes on Facebook, right? The full episode,
or at least links or whatever. Yeah,
links.
For sure.
Yeah, and then maybe YouTube, and definitely Spotify, I think.
Yeah.
So so we got some work to do. A little bit anyway, just to get it out there.
poor you. I am a bona fide idiot when it comes
Well,
to
it-
any of
it's-
this kind of stuff.
It's funny because
But thankfully, my husband is not.
oh
and
yeah, Stacy's
so,
he definitely
he's great.
yeah. So yeah, I mean
So-
any help he would like to give
Yeah.
us would be great.
He
'cause
would. Yeah.
I'm not necessarily the most well versed in all of that either, especially the social media side. It's just not something I do, right? I don't. I look at Facebook, but yeah, I guess we can figure out that other stuff.
Yep.
But yeah. So I don't know. Have we?
I guess we'll wrap this shit up.
Yeah, wrap it up. All right. So yeah, I guess we will wrap it up, and then we'll figure out what our next steps are for
For the next one.
for the next show.
There should be some drunken escapades from my girls' trip, probably
Yeah,
added on the next one.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly I'm ready for story time around that.
Oh
and-
gosh,
And again, the pictures of the pillow fights, which are
that's right. Just can you have Diddy like send us that baby oil he had for
Yes,
our
yes.
wrestling? Okay.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
All right.
yeah. I think that would be appropriate.
All right.
All
Well,
right,
thank
Kelly.
you all for
Yeah,
if
and-
you stayed this long. Thank
Yes,
you, and I hope
yeah.
you come back again.
Absolutely. And we'll see you next time.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Kelly and David, they're on the mic. Talking about things you gotta like.
Holy shit! An hour and